Hi, I'm Danny Kennedy. I'm with the Wilshire Pennington Group, and today this is about Lunch and Learn. And I know that you have quite a few Lunch and Learns, but this is going to be a little unique. The reason that we were asked to do this is we want to get with you early before you make some of the mistakes that doctors make. And I know that you're third-year veterinarian through veterinary school, but you're going to be doctors, right? Everyone is going to end up being a doctor, because by the second and third year, you're pretty much have committed to the program, and you'll eventually finish up and become a veterinarian. How many here are going to be large animal? Wow. Okay, that's great. Is it harder than you thought it was going to be? Yeah, that's what I hear. That I always hear that. That's what I always hear. So Wilshire Pennington only works exclusively with doctors across the country. And some of the things we want to help you get into your mind is how to set up your practice properly. Now this is critical, because what you do not want to end up being as a veterinarian that's 70 years old, working on large animals because you have to, because financially you have to. What you want to do as a doctor is when you're ready to quit, you can, and retire. Now that's a long ways away. I know you're not even thinking that. You're thinking, gosh, I'm just thinking about the next exam or when I can, just get out of school and then I got to set up practice. But we want to get you thinking ahead. So when you finally get ready to graduate, or you start talking to other veterinarians about coming into the practice, it's critical to get set up properly. Now you never want to go into a practice as an employee, ever. You want to go in as a 1099 or an independent contractor. So eventually you can maybe become a partner. Now let me tell you why. Well, if you set yourself up as a corporation, now you think, wow, corporation. But you can be a corporation as an individual person. And you can set yourself up as an S, a C, or an LLC, does not matter. And to set up a corporation runs about $200, okay? And the critical component of this is by setting yourself up correctly, it's about how you're going to pay taxes. Now, you haven't really started paying taxes yet, right? But you're going to start seeing as your income goes up, your taxes are going to go up. And that's what we're going to do to help you offset that. So we want to make sure that we incorporate. We also want to make sure that we do not overbuy equipment. I hate to tell you how many times we run into doctors that overbuy equipment. So you really want to keep your eye on not overbuying equipment and getting yourself too far in debt. And if you get to the point when you're out in practice, is you want to always purchase a building. You never want to rent a building. Why? Because if you own a building, you own it personally, and you rent it back to your corporation. Okay? So you always want to own a building instead of rent. Because renting a building, you could spend, even in a very inexpensive situation, you could spend $1,000 to $8,000, depending on how large a practice that you're in, on rent a month. And that's just gone, right? Your rent is just gone. So you want to make sure that you set yourself up correctly on that. Student loans. Who's got student loans in here? Who does not have a student loan in here? Okay, one hand. Congratulations. Okay? You have great parents. Yes, you do. You have great parents. Student loans, does anybody know what their interest rate is on the student loan?
6.8.
How much? 6.8. Does that sound reasonable? No. Okay, well, I'm going to tell you what your true interest rate is. Okay? Your true interest rate is a lot higher than 6.8. Okay? Who's taking a salary here? Anybody getting paid anything? You are? Couple? Okay. But as a whole, none of us are really getting a salary, right? So when we're taking the student loan out, is when we have no income, right? Now, we pay that student loan back, we have to have a salary, right? Now, do we pay it back with before tax dollars or with after tax dollars? We pay for it with after tax dollars, okay? So now what is your interest rate? Now see, if I was the federal government, I'd be doing student loans all day long. It's going to be your 6%, 6.5 or 6.8%, plus your state tax, plus your federal tax. So depending on your income, you're probably going to be paying somewhere between 25 to 33% every year for interest. You didn't think of that, did you? So you want to keep those student loans as low as you can, and then when you get out of vet school, you want to pay them off as fast as you can before you really start making serious money. Because the higher your income, the higher your tax bracket. okay? So you really want to concentrate, because what happens is your student loan starts looking like a house payment. Really, I mean, I have doctors that get out, some of my high-end specialty doctors that have between $300,000 to $500,000 in student loans, and they're going to be paying those off over 20 years. That's like a house payment, big house payment, right? Does that make sense? So you really want to watch your student loans as much as you can. Now, I don't want you to go crazy and live in the car and sleep in a car and eat dog food. That's silliness. But you want to be, think through this process. The next mistake that doctors make is trying to keep up with the Joneses. Okay? And the Joneses are people who always get you in trouble. Because what happens is, one of the big things that doctors do besides student loans is they buy too large of a house. And when you get out, every realtor is going to want to sell you a house. And they're going to convince you that you can buy a much bigger house than you should buy. So here's the rule of thumb to keep in your mind. Is if you make $100,000 a year, let's just use that number, or even $50,000, you want to basically buy 2 to 1. So if you make $100,000, buy a $200,000 house. Don't go out and buy a $500,000 house. Because what will happen is all your earnings and all your savings are going to pay that house off. And what's the rate of return on a house? There isn't really, is there? Right? So you want to keep your house within a 2 to 1 ratio. So you make $200,000, you buy a $400,000 house, okay? If you do that, that'll keep you from keeping yourself from getting in trouble. The second one is toys. We have gone through school, we've worked very hard, we get out, we want to buy some nice toys, a nice car, right? And cars are great to have. I recommend, though, if you have to have a BMW, or you're a doctor just has to have that Porsche, or you just want to have a Mercedes or a truck. Trucks are very expensive. These trucks they're like buying a BMW. Buy one that's got a couple years on it, okay? Because they'll be depreciated down a little bit. Get some low mileage and get something that's fairly reasonable. Now let's talk about savings. Let's talk about how we're going to start saving. There's 2 ways to save. There's one that's called pension savings, and there's another one called after-tax savings. Everything that you want to always do is pension savings with pre-tax dollars. Always want to do pre-tax dollars because of the compounding effect of what pre-tax dollars does. Okay? And there's all different types of pension plans that are out there, and we can help you with that. So how to become successful? Okay? Now, getting through vet school does not mean you're going to be successful. Because you're going to have to build your practice, and you're going to have to build a clientele, right? For your large animal as well as your small animal. So I want you to remember this. If anything today, I want you to remember that very first line. Actually, if you'd write that down and memorize that, that will make your life really easy. I want you to pay taxes on what you live on. Okay? What you need to live on, not what you gross. Did you hear what I just said? Huge difference. If you incorporate, okay, what I just said, first thing I want you to do is incorporate. Then the second thing you want to do is set a salary that's less than what you have coming in that door. And you want to save the rest. And you're saving that with pre-tax dollars. So let's take, for example, let's say that you're a successful veterinarian. And what's a gross salary that you think would be a successful veterinarian? So I throw out a number. What do you think would be a successful veterinarian number?
Starting out or been out a while?
Been out for a while. 175,000? Okay, all right, I think that's fine. Okay, well, let's round up, let's say 200,000. All right, let's just round, say 200,000. You're a really good vet, okay? Everybody loves you, everybody talks about you, you're feeling really good. Well, the second mistake veterinarians do is they get that 200 and they're paying tax on that full 200,000. Taxes on 200,000 are going to roughly be about $80,000 a year, okay? We just want you to pay your fair share, right? Come on now, let's stay with this. All right, now how about if you didn't really need to live on 200,000? Let's say that you are a frugal veterinarian and you live on 100,000. Okay? How would you like it if you take that other 100,000, you're putting it away pre-tax in a pension plan? Now, what's that look like in 10 years? That's $1 million, right? What's that look like in 20 years? Wow. Okay? Looks like, you see what I'm saying? So what we want you to do is set yourself up properly that you pay taxes on what you live on, not what you gross. Does that make sense? All right, now you're going to have this discussion when you get out to where you're going to end up working. Because you don't want to be an employee. If you're an employee and you make $200,000, you're in a big, large veterinary group, you're going to pay the tax on that full $200,000. But if you set yourself up as an independent contractor with your own corporation, they're going to write you that check for $200,000, and then you're going to take that $200,000, you're going to put it in your corporation, right? And you're going to take what's left after you live off of it, and you're going to put that in savings. That's how you become wealthy. That's how you become wealthy. Okay? The other thing is, how many here are married? Okay, here's the rule. It's a very simple rule. Is if you're married, you want to stay with your first spouse. Okay? If you get divorced and you get remarried, you want to stay with your second spouse, right? Now, you know what we call it when you're on your third spouse? We call that wealth redistribution. Okay? All right? So the rule of thumb is once you get married, do everything you can to stay married, because we do not want to be shifting money around, right? We don't going from your pocket to their pocket, right? Okay? That's a rule of thumb, all right? Now, if you have buyer's remorse, any of you here? Get rid of them now, okay? Now, not later, because you got to get them out early, because you're not making any money, right? Only thing you got going for you is student loans, right? And a lot of hard work. So get rid of them now, okay? The other thing is I know we have one that has a child, right? 5-year-old, correct? Anyone else that's married has children? Okay. Remember this. Now you have your own business. You're incorporated. You're paying taxes only on what you got to live on, right? Then when it's a little boy, right? Okay. When your son gets about 10 years old, you're going to hire your son to work for your business, okay? And you're going to pay your son at his tax rate and not your tax rate. And then you're going to take that money that you're giving your son and you're going to put it towards college and towards vet school, so you have student loans in the future. Isn't that great? Okay? You can do that legally. Okay? Remember that. Disability insurance. Does anybody have disability insurance? Is anybody talk to you about disability insurance? Okay. Our personal opinion on disability insurance is about by the time you get 55, which is a long time for you guys. I know it's a long time, but it comes sooner than you think. By around 55 years old, you need to think in terms of no longer having disability insurance, because you should have enough in savings and your house paid for that you're not going to need this anymore. Okay? And once you remember, I said that. So, but you want to also get it very early. The earlier you get it, that you buy disability insurance, the cheaper it is. And the longer you wait, every year that you wait, it's going to get more and more expensive. Now, I'm not saying you go buy it now because you're third year, okay? But when you graduate or get to the point of your fourth year graduation, you need to start thinking about disability insurance. Now, here's some things that you need to remember about disability insurance. Buy young, okay, because that's when you're going to have the cheapest rates. You want to buy non-cancelable, and you want guaranteed renewal, so they cannot cancel you. You want to have the proper definition of disability insurance, and that's own occupation. You don't have it that you get disabled and you can no longer practice as a vet, but they say, hey, don't worry about it. You can go pick up garbage over here, right? You're going to let you be a garbage collector, or you can go paint houses. And we're not going to provide disability insurance. So you want to have it for your own occupation as being a veterinarian. And you don't want to have any occupation. You only want own occupation. You want to have cost of living adjustments, okay, built into it. You also want to make sure that you have future increase options. So when you start out, your disability insurance needs are going to be less because of your income. But as your income goes up, you're going to want to be buying more disability insurance. And then lastly, you want to make sure you take and put your disability insurance out to bid. You want everybody to fight for it. And there's programs like in our firm, we literally put it out to bid for you. I mean, we just plug it in and we run all the numbers. And we'll get 15, 20 carriers to bid for your disability insurance. Okay? Now, when you do get disabled, it does not pay 100% of your income. It will only pay up to 60% of your monthly income. Okay? And most of them have like a 90-day cancellation. You have to wait 90 days before they will actually kick in, the policy. They most have a 90-day deductible, I should say, instead of cancellation. Life insurance. How many of you have been hit up that you can be buying life insurance? Okay, everybody's going to try to sell you life insurance. You want to buy term. You only need term insurance. Do not buy whole life insurance or variable life unless you want to make me rich, okay? Because if I sell you a life policy, I'm going to make between 50 to 70% commission on it. So basically, your first year in commission, I'm going to get most of it, or the premium, I'm going to get most of it, okay? The other thing is it's a bad investment. It takes about 10 years when you buy whole life insurance to break even. That's with all insurance companies because of the commissions and the load rates on insurance. We tell our clients you only need to buy term insurance. Again, when you get around 55 or 60 years old, you're not going to need term insurance. Unless, who's doing the large animal? Okay? Unless you large animal docs go to the racetrack, okay, and you're betting all the time and you're making a fortune doing this, and your state gets really big, okay, and you got an estate tax problem, then you need to have whole life insurance. That's to pay for estate tax. And that's what they do. They buy whole life insurance, a second to die policy, and they buy the life insurance policy to sit outside the estate, strictly pay for estate tax. But probably none of us in here will ever see that or need that. So term insurance is all you're really going to probably ever need. So remember that. And always be skeptical, by the way. Always be skeptical. Okay, Benjamin. I had Benjamin Kennedy come down. We want to talk to you about basic investing. Okay, investing, the extra money that you have, the stock market we read about every day. Okay.
Thank you. What he said is spot on. This is really interesting. When you talk to doctors who are older, people that had a plan when they were your age, they're going to be about $1 million wealthier. And what's the difference between you and them? Just a plan, that's it. You work the same amount of hours, you buy the same things, it's just investing pre-tax or not. If you can put $20,000 away pre-tax instead of after-tax, after 20 years of working, you have what, $500,000 more for nothing. You did absolutely nothing. You just had a plan, and now you have $500,000 for free. For free, you did nothing. And not a lot of people do this until they're 40 or 50 and they come to us, and it's too late at that point. I mean, we can maybe save them $200,000, and $200,000 is a lot, don't get me wrong, but $1 million or $500,000 is much better. And so what do we do with that money for the 20 years? Well, compound interest is your friend. Every 7 years, your money is going to double, roughly. So $1 million in 7 years is $2 million, only because you had it in the market earlier rather than later. Mutual funds versus ETFs, you really want to be with ETFs, and you don't really need to worry about that. That's what we do. But a lot of people are going to try and put you in mutual funds. That's where we make all of our money. We get commissions and 2% loads up front. You don't want to do that. You just want to get exchange-traded funds, ETFs. How the stock market works. Not a lot of people really know how the market works. Essentially, buy low, sell high. Everybody's heard that, but not a lot of people do it. For instance, right now, China, we're investing in China. If you look, the S&P is at the top and China's at the bottom. China's had some problems lately, but if you buy there, they're pretty highly correlated. If you buy right now, you're about 25% undervalued instead of getting in the S&P 500 right now. And in 10 years, you get that extra 25% caught up. You just need to know when to buy in. Now, you all don't have a lot of money to put in the stock market right now, but in the future, these could go the opposite way. Also, in the year 2000, had you put your money in, even though we're back to where the market is, you hear we're at 14,000 again, we're at a high. Well, if you take inflation into account, you're still 32% under. So you really need to just watch when you invest, get with a professional. Fed policy, this is interesting. I don't think many people know, but we're printing $85 billion every single month. That's 1.02 trillion a year in free money. This is mostly going into the stock market. 40 billion is going towards treasuries and 45 billion mortgage-backed securities. So, don't fight the Fed. Get in the market as early as you can. Put off some spending to put money in the market. Let compound interest be your friend. It's very simple, and it can mean $1 million when you're older. Free money. Our policy, don't fight the Fed. We can be upset with how much money our government's spending, but you really can't fight that. Just go along with it. And you want to be an active investor. Don't do this buy and hold. Again, if you bought and hold in 2000, you're still 32% below where your initial investment was 10 years ago. If you had $1 million in the market, you're still $320,000 poorer than 10 years ago. And that's huge. Again, back to China. China is very, very cheap right now. You have to know where to put your money. So don't go out there and just buy a mutual fund. These people are going to try and sell you mutual funds, annuities, all these products that we make all this money on, and you guys really don't make a lot of money on it. It's not a good deal. What's wrong with annuities? Well, Danny talked about it at the beginning. The commission, 7%. If you get a $100,000 annuity, you give us $7,000 for 5 minutes of work. It's just not, it's not fair. And not a lot of advisors are going to tell you that because we want that $7,000. We will never sell you an annuity. Never, ever. They are absolutely horrible. So, I mean, pretty much, you're not going to have to worry about this for a while, but just be smart. Just have a plan when you're 30, and by the time you're 50, you're not going to have to play catch-up. You can retire early. It's interesting. My grandfather's a veterinarian, and out of all the portfolios that I manage, his is one of the biggest. We have neurosurgeons. We have people making over $1 million a year, and his is one of the biggest portfolios. And he has a nice house. He's doing very well. He wasn't completely frugal. He had a good time, but he was smart. He had a plan when he was young. And he could have retired forever ago, but he chose to work. But having that plan, we're talking millions of dollars for absolutely free. I cannot stress this enough. It's free money. If you can get $100,000 in the market, after 10 years it's $200,000. This is free money. If you get it in there pre-tax, it's very simple.
Thank you, Benjamin. Okay, so getting you started on the right step. First, you have to have a plan. How many of you had a plan when you started to go to vet school? A couple of you did. All right, that's good. How many of you just thought you'd just try out and see if you liked it in vet school? All right, that's good. That's honest. That's honest. What's your name so we can get on the recording? No. I'm just, yeah. Well, it's similar like going through school. Through these last 4 years, they have a plan that's in place, okay? And at the very end, you got to take an exam to see if that you qualify, right? It's a state exam, right? Same thing here. We've got to get a plan. We've got to get you organized. And the biggest thing I want you to realize is don't wait. Now, all those little cards that you all filled out with your email, you will now be on our email list, okay? We're not going to be soliciting you for anything. There's nothing to solicit anyway. That's not what we're here for. We're here to get you thinking about this. So we're going to be emailing you about markets, about things going on. You will also go on our automatic drip system. So you're going to be getting a letter from us every month, and we're going to be telling you what's going on, what to look for. We want, again, the biggest thing we want to do is to get you educated, okay? Get you understanding what's going on. So you're not going to have somebody from the outside coming in, pushing life insurance, pushing annuities, pushing mutual funds, and not getting you set up properly, okay? We want you to be successful, not just as a veterinarian, but also financially successful. We love the term economic freedom. That's what America was built on. Our job here is to create the same situation that I personally have, with my wife being a physician, as to you, is to get you to be economically free and have a game plan in place. All right? Thanks, guys. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you.